Welcome to Discovering Africa Through Technology, the podcast series that showcases the brilliance of Africa's great minds, innovators, and experts as they tackle complex challenges with homegrown solutions driven by knowledge, technology, and innovation. Our podcast is inspired by the African Union Agenda 2063 Aspiration 7, which seeks to rebrand Africa and change negative narratives and perspectives through science, technology, and innovation. We believe that Africa has the power to solve its own development challenges and become a strong, united, resilient, peaceful, and influential global player and partner. Join us as we explore the transformative potential of technology in Africa with your host, Razia Kulatain Mwanga, and learn from the experts driving change on the African continent.
And today in the program, we are privileged to have Chukwuemeka Eze, the Chief Executive Officer of Revive Art Limited from Enugu, Nigeria. He is also the innovator and creator of electric mobility, Retrofit Kit, which is battery and electric power technology for all vehicles. Chukwuemeka has been shortlisted for the African Prize for Engineering Innovation from the Royal Academy of Engineering and has, among other awards. So to start us off, Chukwuemeka, can you tell us what is Retrofit and how you started the journey and came up with this idea? Welcome.
Yeah, thank you so much, Razia. I'm excited to be here. So the Retrofit Kit is essentially a set of components or materials that can be used to just convert an existing gasoline-powered vehicle to an electric-powered vehicle. So the idea for this came with the realization that Africa has become like a dumping ground for overused vehicles from Europe and America. In between 2018 and 2021 alone, there were over 14 million such vehicles that were dumped on Africa. And one sad thing is that there's actually no ecosystem for putting these vehicles back into good use when they fail completely, when their engines are cracked and cannot be repaired anymore. The supply chain to return them to recycling as they are recyclable does not exist. And because of the poor climate regulations that we have here, these vehicles do us a lot of harm. Nobody taxes anybody for driving a vehicle that pollutes the environment so heavily. So we thought of a way to, because of the passion I had for electric mobility, spanning from the studies of the works of Tesla in America, I saw potentials where we could do this as the most cost-effective way of bringing electric mobility systems to Africa, right from Africa by Africans. So I started tinkering and looking into possibilities of funding and partnership. So we decided that it was going to be good if we just take these vehicles that are launching everywhere and find a way to convert their drivetrain to run on pure battery electricity. And that was where we started. It was a ready solution for problems like this overlittering of overused vehicles, overpollution of the environment, and also we saw readily that the electric drivetrain makes vehicles spend 60% less on fueling and over 90% less on maintenance costs because there is no vibrating parts anymore and there's high efficiency of energy use.
I know every country has a limit. You can import your car. So do you mean those cars that are long overdue and should not be imported and should be discarded? Are you talking about those vehicles?
Yes. Those vehicles that can no longer run on the streets of places like Europe and America, they are brought here because there is no regulation that kicks against it. You can bring them in and nobody will charge you anything for doing that.
Wow, that's quite interesting. And I agree. We have so many vehicles that they have overstayed their welcome and they come to Africa because it's cheaper to buy them. And our regulations are not very tight compared to other countries. Talk us through when you say that on these vehicles reduces 60% fuel consumption and 90% maintenance. What exactly do you mean? What do you do to those vehicles to fit this criteria?
We just simply convert them to run on electricity. So they no longer use gasoline engine, oil, or fuel to operate, just pure battery electricity. And here in Nigeria, and I know it will be most likely the same case every other place in Africa, electricity is cheaper. So instead of buying fuel to power your vehicle, you now use the electricity that is 60% less costly to run the vehicle. Just recharge your battery and get going.
You say that fuel is more expensive than electricity. Currently, there is a lot of load shedding in Africa, not only almost most of the African countries. I know Nigeria is an issue. I know South Africa is an issue. There's a lot of load shedding. So how effective is this if you are putting these vehicles on electricity and there is that problem of electricity?
Well, it creates even another opportunity for us to look into the electricity issue, because we are having a system. We developed a battery swapping technology that actually reduces this burden of these vehicles on the electricity grid. So instead of plugging in your vehicle through let me break this down to, when you have a vehicle, an electric vehicle, then it has a charger, right? And if this charger is to charge the vehicle, if this charger is to charge the vehicle faster, then it is going to demand more power instantaneously from the grid, right? But if it charges slowly, then it doesn't cause any much pressure on the grid, but it wastes the driver's time. So the driver will have to wait a long time to charge, and this is usually not desirable. People prefer to have their vehicle charge fast so that they can continue their journey. So we looked at a compromise, the best compromise, which is a battery swapping technology. So if there is a way we can plug in these batteries, we have reserve batteries that we can plug in and charge slowly, because nobody is readily in demand for them until someone needs to swap. These batteries can just stay in strategic locations charging on the swapping booth, because the swapping booth can now charge them slowly from the grid. Say in this area, when there's electricity, the swapping booth just takes power from there and then recharges the battery as slowly as possible. Then before someone needs it, say in the morning, when a commercial driver wakes up to work, maybe 8 a.m. in the morning, he starts working, he can work for up to 4 or 5 hours before he will need to do a battery swap. So before then, all the batteries that are in the booth where he could possibly swap have recharged, right? So this means that it takes much less power, much less burden on the grid to charge those batteries. And then it also now brings the solution to the charge wait anxiety. The driver no longer needs to wait. So on his mobile phone, the swapping booth has some smart system that connects him to those drivers. So if a driver is running low on battery, he can just check his phone using the mobile app, and then he will see which nearest swapping booth he can go to quickly get a swap, and the ones that have charged batteries. So that way, we are able to solve the problem of a lot of high burden or high pressure on the grid, and also the charge wait time anxiety.
Wow, that's quite interesting and very innovative. I like this idea of where you can charge as you use. And also I like that idea of having a mobile app, which tells you now if you're running out of battery, you can run to this place and you can go get a battery. How long does it take, for example, to charge one battery? And how much does it cost to charge in those booths?
An average battery that can do a minimum of 60 kilometers on a single charge, for a very fast charger, it takes about 1 hour to charge it. For a fast charger, a relatively fast charger. But a normal charger, which we want to have, which we have on the booth, would charge these batteries slowly. So it will take about 3.5 hours to charge up on the booth, because the booth takes power slowly to charge them, right? So that it will not burden the grid so much. So, and then after a charge, this 60 kilometers range vehicle will drive for 3 to 4 hours around the city, right? Carrying passengers. And the cost of charging for this particular category of vehicle is between 16 naira per energy unit for most of the places here. And one of them would usually cost about 10 units, 600 naira. That's about roughly $2.
How much is one battery? How much does one battery cost?
One battery module costs $250. That's a well packaged in its casing with the batteries inside. But each of them is about 1.2 kilowatt hour. So we need about 7 of them to make up a pack. Rack for a tricycle will carry about 7 of those 1.2 kilowatt hour batteries, 250 each.
So it comes with a battery charge, and these 7 are used at the same time.
Yeah, they are used at the same time. You really don't have to. Well, one of that option we are looking at is where someone doesn't necessarily need to buy these batteries. That's another option we are looking at, where you could get these batteries as like on rent, on kind of rent. You can rent them and run with them. But it will require us to get partners, OEMs, who are willing to invest in these batteries, right? And also to set up this robust fintech mechanism that actually integrates all of the batteries plus their values plus how the users are going to pay either by subscription or by outright payment at the booth or stuff like that. So all of those things are things that we are considering. But then it holds a very great potential for Africa because we're seeing opportunities for great diversification in the energy sector. So this presents options where we can use both renewables, both any single kind of energy source that we can tap from biomass, solar, geothermal, tidal, all of those options. We can actually tap these sources and have a kind of distributed system of electricity generation that just caters for these modes of transportation. And when we now make very portable transportation systems that are not so cumbersome, that don't need so much power to run, then we actually find a way to reduce and maximize the potentials here. So the energy sector will also benefit, people will benefit. We are organizing trainings, internship trainings for people across Nigeria. So what we want to do is to train these people as retrofit technicians and certify them. So instead of going ahead to build factories everywhere, we just have these people as marketers and also as technicians. So if you needed a retrofit service done, you go to them and they do it for you because they have our certification, they buy from us, right? And then every other place, this is the fastest way for us to scale across Africa. And it's a win-win for both us and the technicians because they don't have to stress now to make the kit and we don't have to stress so much to do retrofitting. So we sell the kit and make our money. They do the retrofit service and make their money as well.
I like this idea of diversification of energy resources because Africa currently cannot depend only on, most of our energy comes from water, and with this climate change, hydro, so there are a lot of changes.
And
I also
gas.
like, and gas, yes, from fuel also, because some African countries have that and others don't. And also I like this idea of also creating jobs so that you are not only solving energy problems, you are solving air pollution problems, you are solving electricity problems, you are creating jobs, and also you are thinking in terms of just not only empowering a small amount of people, but you are thinking of having more people. And also creating an opportunity for diversification, not just you people doing one thing, but also sharing the love and the energy and the resources. You say this is for cars and tricycles only.
Yeah, it's for cars, tricycles, minibuses, generally vehicles in general. What we have done actually that is interesting is that we have developed a process for this. So it's not something that is limited to any vehicle. The process is highly replicable in every other kind of vehicle. That's why I said for all vehicles. Because if we take the process we have used on a tricycle, if we take it to a minibus, then it's just a question of what now needs to be removed, right? Where is that thing? Find it, remove it. What do you need to replace with it? You already know what you need to replace it with. Just find it, the correct size now, and then replace it. And then once these are done, you connect the electric motor, and then the vehicle is ready. So it's something we've done it for a tricycle. We have the kit now ready for a tricycle, and we are currently doing this as well for a minibus. We should have completed it much earlier, but there were distractions. So once we do this, it's from the work on the tricycle, on the minibus, it is very easy to see that this is highly replicable. And with the idea of just selling these kits to trained technicians, the Retrofit Kit model is highly scalable, and it is scalable everywhere in the world, everywhere.
So how much time does it take to fix that car, pull that thing out, the one that you said you need to pull it out and fit your battery?
The entire retrofit process, as we have looked at it manually here, would cost around the service for you to pay someone for you to buy the kit. You need between $600 to $800, right? And then to now pay someone to conduct this retrofit service for you only, you'd need about the same amount, or maybe like 250, from 250 upwards, depending on what time, and what vehicle.
How many hours will my car be fit in, and I'm ready to go and start driving?
With all the components on ground, the kit is something that right now is ready for the tricycle, right? It means that if you get a tricycle, we have all the components on ground under 5 hours. With the manual operations that we even operate now, it can be done under 5 hours. But this is set to improve greatly if we introduce machines to these processes and maybe bring most of those things under the same roof. Not that we have to go a distance to get this done, and then shape, reshape, and all of those things. If we had all of these things under the same roof, we can make this an hour process. It can be done under an hour because the work is not so great. It's just the way to source the materials to get these new modifications done on some of the parts that takes time.
You said you've already done this for tricycles, you've done for minibus and cars. What about buses and lorries?
We haven't done it yet for buses, regular buses and lorries, because of course we are still early stage. We've just even barely completed it for tricycle and already working on the minibus. But then it is something, like I said, the process that what gives us confidence in the process that we have developed is that it is highly replicable. We know that for every tricycle, if we follow the same process, then there's no need for so much R&D for a new kind of vehicle. We wanted to do the retrofitting.
I'm just thinking, because you have different cars and different models. Is it a bit different for each car, or the process is almost the same for all cars and minibuses? Is there a difference in when you are trying to refit them, or it's just one kit? If it's for cars, it's the same, and for minibuses, the same, and tricycles, the same, or is there a difference?
There are differences because these vehicles have different engine size. The kit will be different for different vehicles because the engine size and the engine configurations are different. Even for two different Toyota models, this is still going to be different. That's why we are capitalizing more on the process of developing this kit and not necessarily the kit, because the kit will be different. It might just be a slight difference in the shape of the shaft, or in the shape of a flange coupling that holds the electric motor against the new transmission. But the process is what is highly replicable. So once we follow the same process for a new vehicle, we'll come up with a kit, maybe just a change in the shaft or a change in the flange coupling.
What other challenges are there in doing your work?
Time it takes to do the retrofit. Right now, it takes that long because everything is manual and because our tools are not all in-house. Like we don't own a machining tool like a CNC machine, milling machine, which we need. So we go a distance into the market to get someone who owns this machine, and we give him the parts that we need for him to machine, and then he does it and delivers. Sometimes he'll deliver it, and then the precision in his machining is not so good. So sometimes we have to test it on the vehicle, and then we go back again to get corrections. And this iteration sometimes keeps going on. Sometimes it takes more than. In fact, to get these parts is not something that happens in a day. Like this shaft that has to be machined sometimes takes longer than a day because you have to go there, and then sometimes you queue up to get his attention and get his service. And when you have like maybe 3 to 4 of these things to do, you do them and then you go back and check if it fits. If it doesn't fit, you have to go back and do it again. So, and what we have actually done to solve that challenge is we have done one, right? We have had him do one and perfected it. So it means that if we needed one tomorrow and we call him today to get it done, he can do one. He has a model of it in his shop already. So if we tell him we need one now, he can just go to that model, pick it up, and then replicate it. So that's what we have achieved to solve that problem. Then the other challenge is with sourcing materials. Sometimes because the batteries that we use, we buy them from China. And even if we don't buy them from China, the people in Lagos, Nigeria, who buy them from, still buy from China. So sometimes if you want to buy from Lagos, they'll tell you they don't have batteries, right? So you have to go to China. And if you buy from China, it takes a long time to arrive. And then the cost of getting this here from China is another thing, because it's the customs duty and some of those costs. We know that this is something that at the long run, if we had like a large scale shipping of these batteries, then we'll cut costs greatly. And we wouldn't bother so much about timing, because if we bought one, we can make an order for an entire year or for months, so that all the work that we need to do, all the deliveries that we need to do within that year or within those months, we'll have materials readily in terms of batteries on ground to do them.
Wow, that's interesting. Okay, how has the technology been received in the market? What is the response?
Yeah, generally it has been nothing short of inspiring. Recently, one media influencer, one social media influencer posted our video on Facebook, and just within a week, it has gathered over 1 million views, over 14,000 shares, and lots of likes, over 50,000 likes. So it's and then on the streets, you find people. Many people don't believe it is possible. Many people stay in so much amazement when they see that they want to have it, right? All the people I've come across, all the people we've met, we've introduced it to, both commercial drivers, private people asking us, can we bring our vehicle so you can convert it? Many people didn't even know that it was possible to even have a vehicle that would not need fuel. So when you tell them, they shout that, what have we been waiting for all this while before we introduce this technology? Why haven't they done it on their own vehicles yet? What is holding us? And so it's actually for us to just kickstart these processes and have it more robust, more commercial basis, scale it, make more kits, convert more vehicles. And the impact is a lot of people want to learn. I've received over so many thousands of calls on different occasions asking me, do I take interns? Am I willing to train people to do this? And it has even inspired us. It has spurred us to kind of start making urgent preparations ahead of May to organize an internship program for people so that people will benefit from it. And then it will be another avenue for us to publicize it. So if people are learning it, people will talk about it. If people are seeing activities go on, when they go out, they will tell people about it. Those people will tell other people. And then if we will put something like a video online explaining what our kit does or how to use it, people will carry it on without us. So people are very, very much ready. People who have been troubled over the years by this high cost of fueling, when they hear this, they get very amazed at it.
So far, how many cars, tricycles, and buses have you fitted? And like how many batteries have you created?
We've made about 5 tricycles and just 1 minibus for now. We've sold a number of battery packs. We've sold up to 4 battery packs, aside from the ones that we use in these vehicles.
So I would just like to know, I know you have not started very long, but listening to you, that this is something that can be scalable. It is not that expensive. It reduces fuel costs, and also a lot of pollution is being reduced from the African continent. So I would just like to know your thoughts. As an African innovator who has done this, what would you say about the position and the power of African innovation to solve African problems?
There's no better people to solve Africa's problems than Africans. The onus lies heavily on us because we are the ones who understand it. Someone in the Europe will not be thinking the way I'm thinking because they don't know what we suffer here. They don't feel it. I was in the UK. Their vehicles are all state of the art. They are new. In fact, you wouldn't even notice that they don't even make noise. So someone there would think very, like, I'm very unserious by saying I want to convert his car that uses fuel to the one that uses electricity because he doesn't see the need, right? But here we have a lot of noise. We know the problems. We are the ones who understand the problems, and I believe that the challenges we have as Africans, the moment we wake up, we only need some kind of spark. And to me, what we are doing at Revive Earth is largely creating that spark to make people see that these things are possible. It's not a knowledge barrier because once we have the information that it is even possible, then people will start researching. People will sit up. A lot of African youth that don't have anything they are doing will stand up, and when they go to school, they go with a purpose in their mind, which is, I want to learn this, or I want to understand how this is done because I know it is possible. And then they start going all the way. Before you know it, the greatest potentials, the greatest human potentials in the entire world are here in Africa. I don't know how it is going to what it's going to mean to some other person, but that's how I feel. We have a lot of human potentials, which is what the developed world, which is what most of them thrive on. It's not natural resources. It's not foreign trade. It's not. It's just human resources. People who are working together to build their own communities, to build their own land, make it a place to visit. And that's what we call Europe and America. It's not rocket science. It's just the people standing up. And with great innovations like this, people will see. I believe that we will reach more people. We will reach out to more people. More people will hear about us. The other innovations the other great innovations by other Africans, like the people I met in the UK, like someone like Gibson Kawago, who is repurposing batteries that are supposed to be disposed with that barrier in knowledge. He has found a way to bring them back to life. And I was speaking with him. He's very, very much positive about the potentials of even making those batteries here because the materials that are used to make those batteries are largely sourced from here in Africa. So why is it that those materials are taken away from here and then they are taken to places like Europe and America they make batteries and they sell to us. When we are supposed to be the ones selling to them, it's just a little barrier in knowledge. So once the spark we need to just get people on their tools, get people searching and researching, is just the kind of things that we are doing. So it is a step, and that's what gives us the most confidence to even go on. The impact that it can have on people, just changing mindset, and that's opportunity to get involved.
What does the future hold for Retrofit?
What I would like to say to young people out there is there is no limit to the human potential. There's no limit to what anybody can do. It's just your mind. If your mind is telling you you cannot do it, most likely you won't even start at all. When we started Revive Earth, it was like, where are you going to get the money to start it? To build the first prototype, we needed over $1,000. Where was I going to get the money from if I was just thinking where, how? Then I saw the great potential, and then I didn't even know how it happened. I just tried, and I kept trying and trying. So eventually, it is not about what you have now. It's about how you think. It is how you think that will spur you to want to try. And if you try the first time, it doesn't work, and you are still thinking that way, you will try again and again and again. And before long, it will work out. Because they say lady luck favors the one who tries. So, and then they say about retrofitting. Eventually, portable cars, small vehicles that don't consume much power, will become the future. Robot cars are possible only with electric, if those vehicles are powered by electricity. Gasoline-powered vehicles don't have that potential so much. If we had electric vehicles only, then that's when the future of robot cars will be possible. And here in Africa, if we had retrofit kits for every vehicle, then it would be easy for a driver who already purchased a gasoline-powered car, instead of going to purchase another one that is electric and probably breaking down the one he had before as scrap, he can just convert it, refurbish it, and it becomes electric. And then he saves the environment, he saves cost in purchasing, and then he saves cost in operating the vehicle, in fueling. So the future is massive. It literally introduces Africa into that independence when it comes to industrialization. If we can create retrofit kits, then we can create new vehicles.
Thank you very much, Chukwuemeka, for your very enlightening conversation. And yes, the opportunity is there. And African innovators, it's time that we create our own solutions. Thank you for joining us on this episode of Discovering Africa Through Technology. We hope you've enjoyed our conversation with Chukwuemeka. Thank you, Chukwuemeka, for your insightful information. And yes, we can save on our environment through refurbishing our cars. And we can also save energy. And we can also create jobs, because this is a big market. Every day people import cars. And those cars, most of them are out of date. So this technology can help us to refurbish our cars and also create employment to young people in making these retrofit kits. And also there's this big opportunity of batteries, because most of the batteries, as you say, they are imported from China. But the sources of batteries come from Africa. So I think it's time that we start thinking of creating our own batteries instead of importing batteries. We need to spark people. The innovation is there, the skill is there, the expertise is there. We only need to go that extra mile, and it doesn't need a lot of money to do this. If the will is there and the passion is there, you can always find knowledge and people to help you come up with that innovation. So for people listening in the rest of the African continent, this is an opportunity. This innovation is scalable, and you can partner with Chukwuemeka to create these batteries and also to create these retrofit kits, and you can refit them in your African cars anywhere in Africa and also in the world. So thank you for joining us on this episode of Discovering Africa Through Technology. We hope you've enjoyed our conversation with Chukwuemeka Eze and gained valuable insights into the innovation solutions driving change in Africa. We'd love to hear your thoughts on today's episode. So please share your feedback and ideas with us on our social media handles and emails. And remember to subscribe to our podcast to be notified of future episodes. Join us next time as we continue our journey of discovering African solution makers and their innovation with Razia Kulatein Mwawanga. This podcast has been produced through African Women in News Pitch Zone winners and funded by the African Union, and the contents of this program are the sole responsibility of the producer and do not necessarily reflect the views of African women in media and the African Union.